did. All right, thank you everyone. Welcome for coming today. This webinar is called Aspen LiDA, the Aspen Mobile Experience. So today we're going to kind of have an overview of what Aspen LiDA is, why it's great for your libraries and your patrons, and all the cool features and functionality that you're going to have if you use Aspen LiDA. So my name is Morgan. I am an Aspen implementation specialist at Bywater here. So I help set up libraries, get them configured with Aspen Discovery and Aspen LiDA. And I'm joined here by a few people on our sales team, Kelly and Bill. And we have Cal, who is also on the implementation team for Aspen too. So to start off, what is LiDA anyway? So Aspen LiDA is the companion app to Aspen Discovery. So that means if you have Aspen Discovery, then you automatically have access to Aspen LiDA. Just you don't have to do anything else. Once it's enabled, you have it. If you're wondering what exactly LiDA means, it is an acronym for Library Discovery App. And the name LiDA is actually Slavic in origin, and it means loved by the people, which we thought was an appropriate coincidence. So I just absolutely love that. LiDA was actually first built by Christopher Zorn from the Ajax Public Library in Ontario, Canada. And he decided that he wanted to give that code back to the community in 2021, which was absolutely amazing for us. So from that point on, a member of our team, Kirsten, she has become the primary LiDA developer at Bywater and continues to build upon that initial version of the app. And it's been so helpful to get all of the feedback from the libraries and our communities because we release LiDA updates every single month, just like we put out a new release for Aspen Discovery every single month. So if your library uses LiDA, you don't have to worry about the app being neglected or falling behind because it is also very much ever evolving and each month brings exciting new updates. So there are two varieties of Aspen LiDA. There is just Aspen LiDA and there's library branded LiDA. Aspen LiDA is the default that you have access to with every installation of Aspen Discovery. So like I said before, if you have Aspen Discovery, you have Aspen LiDA by default for free if you want to enable it and promote it to your patrons. Patrons will search the app stores for LiDA, and then they'll be able to use geolocation or manually search to find their library. This works very similar to how other big library apps like Libby and Hoopla work as well. So those apps are all shared by a multitude of libraries, but patrons are looking for their library and signing in. So yeah, just like Libby's one app, you sign in, you're looking for your specific library, and you're just using your regular user credentials. It's the same concept with Aspen LiDA. In Aspen LiDA, there's a combination of the LiDA branding and the library's logo will also show up in certain places as well. In the library branded version of LiDA, which we also offer, it's just for your library. So patrons would be able to find the app by searching for your library's name instead of having to search for LiDA. There's no mention of LiDA or LiDA branding or logos. So to your patrons, it looks entirely like your library's app because it is. You own the app this way. We will work with you to set this up together. And that starts with you setting up accounts in the app stores because again, your library will actually own the app. And then you're just giving us access to help customize the branding to your library. And we'll continue to work within that app to keep publishing it and pushing out new releases. The last difference is that there is a small additional charge for the library branded LiDA. And it's mostly just to cover our costs of helping set it up and maintaining it, since it's a separate version of the app and keeping that up to date. And in either version of the app, you will still do the vast majority of customization within Aspen Discovery, such as setting up your browse categories, creating and sending custom notifications, and other settings. So that is an overview of what LiDA is and what types of LiDA are available to your libraries. But now I'm going to give you a tour of Aspen LiDA and talk about some of the exciting functionality that it has. So this is what it looks like when I open up Aspen LiDA for the first time. I'm going to see this select your library option here, which is going to try to use geolocation if I have that enabled. If I don't, it's going to ask me for permission. And I currently don't. I usually leave it off. But the good thing is that if you don't have it enabled or just don't want to enable geolocation, that is totally fine because you can search for your library by name. Like we mentioned earlier, LiDA is shared with other Aspen libraries also using LiDA. So patrons will need to find and select your library in order to log in. And once again, this is similar to how other big library apps out there work, such as Libby and Hoopla. Once I have my library selected, I'll be able to sign in with my library card number and my PIN, just as I usually do on the Aspen catalog. The first screen you'll see in the app is called Discover, and along the bottom here, you'll see the main app navigation, which I'll kind of be going tab by tab through this webinar to show you what each tab is and what you can do there. So this first tab is Discover, which features all the browse categories you've set up in Aspen Discovery. So this is pulling from your browse categories in the order that they appear on your catalog, including the subcategories. I think the Discover page looks really awesome in LiDA, and I love having that option for browsing through the titles in the app, just as you do in Aspen Discovery. And there are other ways to customize this page. So you may have noticed that there's a little hide there. You do have that capability in Aspen Discovery as well. So if a user similar to like displays in the library, if someone comes in and complains about it, if someone doesn't like content or just would prefer to clean up their page, so it's just things they're interested in, they can hide a browse category. And we do make it really easy to manage the browse categories that they see in LiDA as well, which I'll show you in a second. But just like the browse categories on Aspen Discovery, you can click on any title that you happen to be interested in, and you'll be able to see more information about that title, such as what formats are available and a description, etc. So if you scroll down a little bit on the Discover tab, so I'm talking about the left screenshot here, at the bottom, you have some extra buttons. So you can choose to load all categories because right now, by default, it's not displaying all the categories just to help improve the performance of this page. So you have the option to load even more if you want to see what else is available and featured by your library. Clicking on that Manage Categories button, that's going to open up this menu here on the right-hand side. So that's displaying a list of all the browse categories available on your catalog. And from here, you have the option to toggle those on or off. So they're either showing up on your page or not. And that preference is only for their account, of course. So when they log in, they'll be able to see or not see certain things. It doesn't affect any other users. And just a quick side note, you can see how often people hide browse categories in Aspen Discovery in the browse category settings, which I think is really cool, along with other statistics about how often the browse categories are showing up to users. So the next tab along the bottom in Aspen LiDA is the Search tab. So this is, of course, where users conduct their catalog searches, and your library can even set up some quick searches for users if you want to feature any popular topics. So I could click on any of those buttons, and that would take me directly out to that search that you built and customized in Aspen Discovery. So like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the setup and things are configured in Aspen Discovery on the web version, and then they manifest here in the app. So if I wanted to search, I could, of course, type in an author or title, a keyword, whatever I want, and then it's going to bring me into my search results. So I have searched for Colleen Hoover, who seems to be the author of the moment. All of her titles are very, very popular these days. And this, in the search results, just like in Aspen Discovery, it will display clearly the title, the language of the material that it's, the language that it's in, and the different formats that are available for that title. So I really particularly love how just clean and obvious this display is. It makes it very clear and easy to use for patrons if you're just scanning through these results. However, what are search results without the ability to filter and narrow down to, what you're looking for even more specifically? And Aspen LiDA has filters as well. So along the top up here, you'll see this filters button and then a few other, top level filters. So if I click on that filters button, this will allow me to refine my results. So here's just kind of a enlarged version of the filters up at the top. And these filters correspond with the facets that you have available in Aspen Discovery search results to provide a more consistent experience for your users. So I can click on, sort by to change how it's sorted. So if I want to sort by the date purchased descending to see the newest things, I can do that. By default, it's the best match, which is using the default search relevancy. I could click on any of these other things to see what options I have available for filtering down. Once I click on one of those filters, I have more specific options. So here I've clicked on the format filter, and I get to pick what formats I'm interested in. So if I just want to see things that are books specifically, once I click that, it will show up at the top where the filters are. So it's showing me right now that I have best match sorting on, and I've selected the book format. So I know that everything in the search results now is going to have a book format available. When users click in to a specific title in the search results, they'll be able to view more about that title. So this again includes the language, all the available formats, and availability and copy information. So on the left here, that's kind of the full view of it. And then I've honed in on some of these things. Up in the top right here, this is, when I click on show editions, if I want to see information about what specific editions you have available. If I want to see more specific availability info for the copies, I can click where is it to see the location, the call number, how many copies are available, etc. And a side note, recently with an update, any translations that you add to Aspen Discovery in the interface, those do carry over to LiDA. So for example, we do have libraries sometimes change the where is it link to say something like, maybe show all copies or see where it is or whatever you works for your library. So if you change that in LiDA, that language will carry over to LiDA, which I think is super cool. I absolutely love that because we want to provide that consistent experience for your patrons as much as possible. Now, if you place a hold on a title, you will be able to select a pickup location if it's physical content, of course. And then once you hit place hold, your hold will be placed. If it's e-content, you'll place your hold and you'll be able to access it, either pulling up the Libby app or whatever app it is, all that good stuff. And I could click on go to holds from here to go straight there. But there is another way to get to your holds, and we'll talk about that in a moment. If an e-content item is available, you'll be able to check that out. And in these screenshots here, I actually have linked to another person's account. So in this case, I have the option to select which account I want to check this out to. So it's showing, here's my primary account, and then here is the account I linked to, little baby Aspenita. So I'll talk more about linked accounts in LiDA in a little bit. All right, another great feature in Aspen Discovery is user lists, and that carries over to LiDA as well. From the search results, so I have a little screenshot of that here, and from the detailed record page, it's probably a little harder to see. It's kind of grayed out in the background of this, but you have an add to list button in search results and on the detailed title pages. So if I click add to list in either place, just like in Aspen Discovery, I will be able to choose whether I want to add this to a list I've already made, or I can create a new list from here, which I absolutely love that this is available in both Discovery and in LiDA, because we all know the people who love their lists really, really love their lists. So this can be a great supplement or even alternative to them. So going to the next screen, this is what it looks like if I decide to create a new list from here. So I would just give it a title and a description, and I'd be able to change the access level, just like you do in Discovery. The next tab in LiDA navigation is the library card. So this is really amazing for libraries that have the ability to scan reflective surfaces. So at your self-checkouts, at the desk, a user could bring up their library card in LiDA and just scan it right from their phone. How couldn't get much more convenient than that, because I don't know about you guys, but I constantly lost those little like key fob things that go on your keychain. I think this is so much better. So the left-hand side this is just when it's my account only. So it's bringing up my barcode right away. And I love that it also shows the expiration date for your account if that's available. On the right-hand side, this is what it looks like when you have linked to other users' accounts. So I love this too. I can't contain my excitement, is that you can just swipe from left to right to flip through the different users that you've linked to, or you can even just click on their names at the bottom. And from there, you'll be able to click open barcode and see those individual users' barcodes. So extremely convenient for families and partners and any other situation where you might want to link accounts. The next navigation tab is the account tab. So as the name might indicate, this is like your control center for all things related to your account. Right up at the top, I'm able to see my name and my card number. If I have fines on my account, which, whoops, looks like there's a lot on this account. Well, it's counting both accounts, but still, it's going to show you if you have any fines, just so that you can be aware and pay attention to that. Of course, you can get to your checkouts and your holds from here, the list, save searches, reading history, and some other account preferences and settings. So this is what we're looking at when we click on the checkout title screen. So it's going to give me a view of all the checkouts I have, which they're all overdue, which, kind of true to life. This isn't my actual account, but I am terrible at returning things. So relatable. But it's going to tell you, just like you see in Discovery, when it's due, how many times it's been renewed, if it's overdue. And I can also try to perform actions in bulk. So I have the ability to click renew all, and that's going to try to renew everything. It doesn't guarantee that it will renew, just depending on how many times and your cert policies and all that. But here's a screenshot after I tried to renew them, and it says that 2 of 5 titles were renewed. So the other ones, I should probably return them to the library soon. In addition, up at the top of your checkouts, you have the ability to filter. So if you wanted to filter by the specific type of material, you have that option here. Just like in Aspen Discovery, in the user account, you have different tabs for the types of materials. So if I want to focus specifically on physical materials, since those are the ones that actually, might matter as far as fines and fees and things, I can limit to just looking at those as well. Next is the hold screen. So it's very similar to Aspen Discovery, where you have the holds that are ready for pickup at the top. So right away, I know I have something that I can pick up right now. And it's telling me the pickup by date. So apparently I missed the boat on that one, but that's okay. I can place another hold on it again. You have the option to filter at the top, just like your checkouts. You can filter by the type of material. And then you have your pending holds down here. So you do have the option to manage your pending holds in bulk. So if I check on the boxes next to the titles that I want to do something with, I can click Manage Selected, and that's going to give me options for what I want to do with the things that I've selected. So I can cancel them, I can try to freeze them or thaw them. So I love that you can still do actions in bulk, depending on, especially if you have a lot of stuff on your account. It's nice to be able to just check certain things and do things in bulk. And if I change my mind, I can always click Clear Selections to uncheck. All right, going back to lists. So I talked about where you can add new lists or add to existing lists from the search results. So if I click on lists from the account tab, it's going to bring me in to see all the lists that I have created. So here is these are my lists at a glance. If I want to create a new list from here, I can do that as well. And if I click into one of those lists, of course, I'll be able to see all the titles on that list. I can change how they are sorted. I can click the edit button to change the title, the description, all that. And I can even delete the list from here. So this is, of course, it's directly synced to your, Aspen Discovery account. So if I do something on LiDA and then log in on my computer, it's going to sync anything that I do. Of course, you also have the ability to save searches. So I had saved a search for fantasy books. And what I like to do is build those on the Aspen Discovery, just because I like all the different, options and sorting. You could, so once you save it from Aspen Discovery, they will show up here. And then all you have to do is click on your save search, and that's going to take you to those results in Aspen LiDA. So amazing. And just another note about save searches, when something gets added to the collection that comes up in one of your saved searches, Aspen does let you know that something has been added to that saved search. So I think that functionality is super cool. This here is your reading history. So just like in Discovery, you have access to your reading history in LiDA as well. So you can change the sorting, you can, delete or stop recording from here. Also, you can even add things to a list from here. And there is that privacy notice in case someone forgets, like, oh, what is reading history? It's the same way in Aspen Discovery. You can click that and read more about what reading history is and why you may or may not want to have it enabled. Linked accounts. So I love that all the linked account functionality is available to you in LiDA as well. So if I clicked on the linked accounts section of the accounts tab, that is going to show me if I am managing any other accounts or if another account can view my stuff. And I can also add an account to manage from here. So just like in Aspen Discovery, I still am going to need the library card number and the PIN of any user that I want to manage. So it's the same exact thing in LiDA. And it does offer an explanation of what linked accounts are and why they might be convenient for you. And I did provide this blown up screenshot of the checkout screen because I wanted to point out that on both the checkouts and hold screens, it does let you know who it's checked out to or on hold for. So it's really easy to keep everything separate and just see at a glance, okay, who has what. And you can even sort it by library account. So you can just go in alphabetical order and see who has what. Makes it easier. Notifications. So on the preferences part of the accounts tab, you have access to the manage your browse categories, but you also have the ability to manage your notifications from here. So we're not going to opt people in automatically. We want people to make that choice. So it is going to ask for permissions, and you have to, opt into receiving notifications. And once you've allowed notifications for LiDA, you will be able to customize which type of notifications you receive, depending on what types of notifications your library has decided users should have access to. So you can get alerts or notifications for saved searches. So again, when something gets added to a saved search that's new to the collection, it can notify you. You can also get alerts from your library, which these are custom notifications in LiDA that your library actually creates customized to send out to users. So you can use custom notifications to promote a new browse category that you put up, or advertise an event and link to the events page on your website. You can do a lot of different things with custom notifications, and I think it's such cool functionality. And then the last one is whether or not to get alerts about your library account. Right now, these are related to linked account functionality. So just messaging, when someone has linked to you or someone has broken a link. But we definitely have plans to add more alert functionality for account things in the future, which I am super excited about, and I know our libraries are really excited about. Again, one of the things I love about LiDA is seeing how much it's grown and how much it continues to grow every single month. Just something awesome every single month, and we love to see it. All right, so that is the overview of Aspen LiDA. I hope that you've learned some new things about Aspen LiDA, or just gotten a much better sense about what it is and how your users can use it, and the similarities between Aspen LiDA functionality and the functionality that's available in Aspen Discovery. Before we wrap up, are there any questions? Okay. Seeing some shaking heads. Oop, let me look in the Q&A here. Let's see. We have a question. Someone says, nice to see Cal out of the bushes. She makes appearances here and there. Q&A, do you know how many downloads have been done in the Android and Apple stores? I'm not sure that we have those statistics. That might be something I'd have to look into. Not something I have in my pocket. But that is a good question. I am curious. All right. I'll have to look into that. Okay. Well, there are some other upcoming webinars in our everlasting webinar series. So next in July, we have implementing Aspen Discovery within a consortium. So if you are in a consortium, definitely recommend it. There's also Aspen Discovery integrations on August 15th. So learn about what can be integrated within Aspen Discovery. And then September 25th, there's what's new with Aspen Discovery. And I do see one last question in the chat. So thank you, David. I am not seeing the option for linked accounts. Is that a setting my library would have to change? Yes. So you do have to enable linked accounts in Aspen Discovery in order to see that option in LiDA. So we can make sure that you know how to enable that if you would like to. That should be in your library system settings under ILS/account integration, I believe. All right. I think that's probably it. Okay. So thank you again very much. Cal has very helpfully linked to our help center if you want to learn more about, so she linked right to how to enable linked accounts. I probably shouldn't have clicked that, but there you go. So let me go back to the presentation. Thank you so much for coming today. If you have any more questions, so if you pop awake tonight and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember something I wanted to ask about LiDA, definitely send an email to us, sales@bywatersolutions.com. If you are an existing Aspen partner, you can also reach out to us in the Aspen Discovery Slack channel or send a support ticket, and we are happy to help you out with LiDA or anything else. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day. Goodbye, everybody.